Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of New Lease, where life are transformed one episode at a time. I'm Vivian Omonuwa Ibe, and I'm so glad that you are here today. Last week, we did have a guest in the house who began his true life story, and we promised that he's going to be with us in the next episode to complete his story. And Frank is in the house today. Welcome back, Frank.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Okay, I want to first of all say thank you for taking the time to be here, and I want to also tell you that I admire the liberty with which you tell your story. I know a lot of people out there, and like I always say, I've been in the streets a lot, and I meet with people a lot, and I've heard a lot from people, and I know that there are a lot of people who have not even gone half of what you've gone through, and they find it so difficult to share. So what's your motivating factor?
Well, it's because I've been through healing. I'm healed. Still healing, but grossly healed thanks to the grace of the Holy Spirit. And it's only from a place of healing that you can heal others. For everything that happened to me was done, well, I wouldn't say it was done. It occurred, even though it was out of alignment. It occurred still to bring glory back to God. And I know that my story is purposed towards letting people know that there is no depth at which you fall into sin that you cannot be pulled out.
Okay.
As you said in the first episode, His love is boundless. There is no I can't be forgiven. Only when do you want to be forgiven and you will be forgiven. So, yeah, my story is a testimony, and my testimony is meant to touch
And help other people.
and help others.
Yeah, talking about God's love is a constant awareness that God has always been there.
He's always been there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people need to know that. There are some things that happen in one's life that will make one feel that God was ignorant, God was far. Our God is actually omnipresent.
Omnipresent.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So he's always available, and God is closer to us than even the hair on our head. But that's one thing devil tries to do, to blind us to the truth of the fact that
God is always there.
God is always there.
He's always there. He's always watching. He's always loving.
Yeah, he's available.
He's available.
Okay, so and something that play out, something that happened in our life. Later, we'll now discover that it was God all that time.
Yeah, you would always realize that God's fingerprints were always there.
Yeah.
You were just ignorant to notice it.
Yeah. Frank, you did mention at the time that you lost your dad at the age of what?
At the age of 15, I lost my dad.
Okay. So how did that contribute? Did that contribute to your derailment? How did that impact what impact did it have on you?
Now where it starts with that.
Okay.
Now, prior to this, it was all a lot of distraction, but proper derailment, proper degrounding from my faith began after my dad was taken.
Okay.
Specifically after the movements of faith. You see, my dad was a core part of my life, especially my spiritual life, because he loved God. In some ways, I saw him as what the ideal father should be.
Okay.
And I understood that the ideal father should be God. So I saw him as what God would be if God was a man. I know he was flawed, but then I could see his purity and his grace and his attempt to be right. So seeing the man that I would call righteous being taken the way he was taken.
Okay.
Because it didn't happen it wasn't an illness, it wasn't an illness, it wasn't unknown, it was injustice.
Okay, so we want to share.
Yeah, I can share. On the 4th of August 2019, in the night, probably around the hours of 8 to 9 p.m., my dad was kidnapped in a car. He was kidnapped in a car. funny thing, I tell people that my dad was kidnapped right at the doorsteps of a police station. Like, the very people. And then my dad used to occasionally go give these people some money, like 5,000, 10,000, because we stayed in a kind of lonely area and he needed them to be watchful. So he would go and drop off some sums of cash with them occasionally. And right at the doorsteps of that very police station, my dad was kidnapped, taken.
The irony of life.
The irony of life.
Funny to one, there is only God that can really secure.
Only God can secure. Don't depend on men. Men will fail you.
Yeah.
And when he was taken, they called, asked for a sum of 10 million. Our family priced it down to 1,010,000. At that instant, I knew that there was something wrong, because you don't go from 10 million to 1,010,000 and something is going to happen, right? It can't be. So they took the money and told our family to go wait for my dad at a designated pickup location. We headed there. Well, 2 men from our family headed there. And when they got there, they waited. They waited from the hours of 10 to 12, 1. My dad didn't show. I think they went the following day. My dad still didn't show. Eventually, we stopped waiting and started going to God again. Different members of my family were making their little moves.
What do you mean by going to God again?
Yeah, we're making little. Why I say again is when it happened. When it happened, I mean, we were praying. We prayed that very night. But then we're putting a lot of physical, human effort.
Okay.
Searches, the police, different stations.
Okay.
And then after it all, we decided, okay, more head in God. Yes, okay. My mom was going to a lot of prayer houses. Some of us were making huge moves of faith. My brother dropped a huge sum of money as a seed faith in church. Huge, not very huge, but huge for a boy of 13. My brother was 13 at the time. For me, I did my own walk of faith, act of faith, where I basically laid down my exams for my dad's return. And as the odds would have it, after we all did our different acts of faith, some days later they released a memo, and it was circulating around WhatsApp. It's even on social media now. You could search it and you would find it. It's not social media, sorry, Google. If you Google it up, you would see the person. You see my dad's image. You see my dad there on the internet. Emelogo Ikechi Ikefoma, that's his name. You would see the story of how he was kidnapped. You'd see the person that they accused of kidnapping him is this guy called Boboski. I don't really know what some of the name is that. And the thing was, when he was caught and arraigned, after questioning, he died. So he was already suspicious. And then when they released the memo, they were like, he was responsible for the kidnapping and killing of so person. And then I saw my dad's name there, kidnapped and killed. I was like, okay. Interesting. So when I remember going to my pastor's house that evening, and all I could ask him was why so much dependence on God, and why do I feel let down? And the thing is, he couldn't answer the question. He just couldn't answer the question for me. And slowly and surely, now that I'm inside him, I'm with Christ, I receive revelations. Yes, I receive revelations of the answers. There are a lot of things that get revealed to me that enables me to understand that, okay, this is why this had to happen. One of the key things I like to stress on, and this is especially for the viewers out there, that God isn't responsible for the bad. There's this question that atheists like to put forward, that if God is all good, why does bad things happen? Yeah. Why do bad things happen? God isn't responsible for the bad, and all loving God gave to man free will, because love doesn't force. Love gives you the will to choose. Yeah. And so, for some of us that have refused to align in his will, we take our free will and be rebellious. And because of that rebellion, other people can be affected. Yeah. But what he guarantees us is this, that regardless of what happens, all things will work together for your good. Okay. So my dad being taken wasn't God's doing. It was out of the rebellion of man. But even at that, his fingerprints were still grossly present. So, yeah, this is one of the few things that God revealed to me. Okay. Yes, it helped with my healing. Okay. So how it's fractured my faith. Okay. Yeah. How it fractured my faith.
How did it work? How did it work
for my good? Well, now I'm saved, and not only am I saved, I know purpose. Okay. I realized that there's a lot of things I went through that were very vital for my salvation, and not just my salvation, my understanding post salvation. a lot of things that happened that wouldn't have happened if my dad was present. A good, like, straight off the bat, this testimony would never have been possible if my dad was present. Who give me mind to go and do cocaine when my father is around?
Okay.
No, like, it can't happen. I wouldn't have even been in this church if my dad was present. My dad was very emphatic on everybody attending a singular church.
Okay.
And we're all Anglican. So me telling my dad that, I don't think I want to worship here, he would have never stood for it.
Okay.
And I always say to certainty that coming to Christ Links Church was life-changing for me. That's when I started to get direction.
Okay.
Even though I wasn't saved instantly, but the more I heard the word, the more things started to make sense.
Okay.
And even those that didn't make sense, after salvation, everything just clicked. So I know that that's where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
My dad would never have let it, so there's that.
Okay, so how did it lead to your derailment?
How my dad's demise led to my derailment. After the questions and getting no answers, the suitable answer that I could fall back on was, there is no God, and if there is a God, he definitely doesn't listen or care. And that was my heart posture for like 2-3 years.
Okay.
Like, even if there's a God,
doesn't care. So why should you care about
so
what he cares about?
Yeah, so why should I care? Like, you say you're all loving and you're all powerful. Look at me suffering. And because of how I grew up, I'm not saying I had a terrible childhood. I had a blessed childhood. But because of some of the things I went through as a child, bullying, the molestation, the forms of neglect and all those things, like, this just felt like an unnecessary blow. And it was like, I don't need to go through this.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't deserve this.
I don't deserve this. And I know that there were people that had it worse, but why add worse to my already bad?
Okay.
As I would say. Even though it wasn't that bad. But from a selfish perspective, why me?
Okay.
Yeah. So that was how my derailment began.
Okay.
And the lack of presence of my dad gave me the liberties to do a lot of things that were very consequential. Like, no dad, so I can go to a whorehouse. No dad, so I can indulge in drugs.
Okay.
Yes. So
okay.
That's it.
All right. So, Frank, you talked about a time you were caught by the police.
Oh, where police catch me? Okay, so story time.
This was in university then?
I was in university. I wasn't on campus any longer. I left the campus because... And the funny thing, I'd had a lot of close warnings in the campus too, but university, and when I left off campus and I was staying in the city, I went to the University of Calabar to smoke. I bought 2 ties of loud. I rode on my loud and we had started smoking. I was already high. And then I turned over my shoulder and I saw a van with a red inscription that cannot be mistaken. That was anti-cultism, as we call it here. And when they pulled over, I tapped the guys I was smoking with. I was like, police, 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 police. And we began to run. And I took my lighter, which we call spark, and I threw it, and it hit the window, and they saw us running, and they started chasing us. One even shouted, "We will shoot." That almost got me scared, but I was like, better say I died than my mama find out say I did do drugs now. So I was running, and then I fell, although I think the first guy tripped, and then I fell over the second guy. The third guy was lucky, he
escaped.
Yeah, he escaped. And then they caught us, held me, put cuffs on my wrist, put me in the van, and it dawned on me that I've been arrested for drugs. And I'm like, how did we get here? From being a star student, because when I was in primary school, I know everyone tells the story, but that was my story too. Primary school, first. Even in secondary school, good grades. Got into a good university, and now I'm here in the back of a police van with cuffs on my hand. How did you go from being the boy that puts the Bible on the couch, preaching the gospel to his family, to the boy when I was a child?
Yeah.
I went from that to being a detainee. I can remember filling down my police report, my statement, and I'm like, I'm writing an actual statement, still in cuffs, by the way. I'm writing a statement. It was surreal. And funny enough, I think that was when something snapped in me, because when I saw myself in the van with the cuffs, it was like, this shouldn't be me. This isn't you. This isn't what you should be doing with yourself. This isn't where you should be. You shouldn't live like this. And then by the grace of God, I got released. I got released from the cell, from detainment. Went back home.
And then your mother became very aware of what you were doing. So
I was, see, at that moment, I don't think there's been any. The only moment, even when I lost my dad, I still had some form of peace. That was the feeling was gut wrenching. I felt disappointed in myself. I felt like if there was any point in my life that I would have taken my life, it was then. Because I know that a lot of people say, what is there to get arrested? It's like people see it as nothing, and I understand their points, and it's also a very bad thing. It means that you are becoming desensitized to correction. That is a sign of hardness of heart. So I'm like, I don't want this for myself. Even if people say it's a normal thing, I don't want to identify as someone who gets arrested on a regular basis for drugs. I don't want that on my story. Even though it's already got into my story, I don't want a repeat. So that was where redemption began for me.
Okay.
After getting arrested, I started to think about my life choices a lot. Fair to say, I wouldn't say fair, like honest to say, I abstained for smoking for like a week, and then because
after that encounter,
yes, but then I went back into it because I hadn't met Christ yet, and anyone can tell you that stopping an addiction is hard, especially when you want to stop it through your own will.
Okay.
In fact, funny story, when someone else told me that the only way to stop an addiction is to get another addiction.
Yeah, that's what people say.
Yes. So I was abstinent, fell back into it, and every time I would smoke, I'll feel so guilty. I'm like, why am I smoking? Why am I doing this?
But you cannot help it.
I can't help it. I started to gauge how I would smoke. Before, I would smoke at least on an average, I would smoke like 9 blunts a day. I would smoke the average of like 3 in the morning, maybe 2. I would like, it's a lot of, maybe not up to 9, but nothing less than 6 blunts a day. I used to buy a bag of loud 5k. I'll buy a bag, crush it, and just be smoking and smoking. When I'm sober, I'm smoking again to get high.
Okay, now let me understand something. Especially for those who now you explain this addiction. You know, when you've not smoked, how do you feel?
When I'm sober, I feel upset.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to straight out say I couldn't function sober, but I rather wouldn't. When I felt sober, I was conscious of my problems, of my aches, of my issues. And I didn't like to be conscious of the things I thought about. Especially for someone like me who was an overthinker, I found myself thinking a lot. Okay. And that's kind of pattern comes with weight.
Okay, so you want to excuse yourself from reality.
I want to live reality.
So when you smoke, you are out of reality. You're just
when I would smoke, I would feel, even though I think whatever I think about doesn't come with the consequences of the weight.
Okay.
So I would think about something that is stressing me. And funny enough, there were lots of times I would use the smoking and thinking to sort out my life. It was happening. But at some point I realized that I was just smoking to not sort. I would smoke. I would say I want to sort, but by the time I smoke a few blunts, I'm like, that problem can rest. That problem can stay. That problem.
So one just find himself wasting away, postponing problems that I could actually sit down and face and handle.
Yes, I would. It was to run away from problems and stress and ache. It was.
So all these names, sometimes I tell my people in the street, you are taking Arizona. Arizona makes you feel you're in Arizona, whereas you're in Neka. Colorado makes you feel. There are so many in the US. You're actually in Benue State. So I don't know. Do you know the origin of all those names?
No, the names likely, although there is distortion because as I firmly believe most of those drugs are grown here, but the names are to tell you where they are gotten from.
Okay.
Their origin. So Arizona would be Arizona Kush, although it's a slang for lower based drugs, but the names are to signify. The names, if following the proper pattern, would signify where this loud came from. Because loud is general name worldwide. Okay. It's all worldwide. It's known as Kush, loud, ganja. Okay. But based on your culture and your locality, there's how you grade them. So in Nigeria, I'm a firm believer that it's all grown in this soil, because if it's not grown in this soil, it won't be bought so cheap.
Yeah, it's so cheap now.
So it's all grown here, but they need a way to differentiate. So Arizona is to refer to cheap grade loud. Okay. It's not. It's all marijuana. It's all cannabis. It's all THC. Okay. But it has less of the ease with, because loud goes straight through. Loud doesn't choke. When you smoke Arizona, it starts to choke eventually. Okay. Yeah, it starts to choke. It starts to hurt the truth. Okay. So that's how they named it. Colorado is The Colorado is just marijuana from Colorado.
Okay.
And the thing is, the different places they come from have different strains and different ways they treat it. That's why they all have different effects. So Colorado Loud is, when I did personal research on like what exactly is Colorado Loud. What we call Colorado Loud is likely some form of this plant called datura.
Okay.
Datura. And datura is a hallucinogenic drug. It's a flower. When you smoke it, you have vivid hallucinations, and you could hear sounds, see things. That is what Colorado is. It's a hallucinogen, and it can trigger marijuana-induced psychosis. It can trigger it. So just because you had, what we would say is you caught cruise, you had cruise, or you were under cruise, just because you survived this one is not a guarantee you'd survive the next one, especially when you're mixing strains. So you're taking, and as I would say, I'm not innocent, I did this a lot. I would take Colorado, mix it with loud and street dope, that is sold at 100 naira, we call it dope, normal weed. I'll take Colorado, mix it with loud and weed and smoke it. Sometimes I'll take Colorado and smoke it with crack. All those could induce psychosis. I know there were some points in my life. I bless God for the amount of introspection He blessed me with, because I always had this innate ability to look inward and be conscious of what's happening in my inner world. And there are points where I knew that if you cross this line, you're going to run mad. Yes. While smoking Colorado, because I have some prerequisite knowledge on quantum theory and quantum mechanics, which is basically the building blocks of reality. Whoever is listening to this that has dabbled into those fields will understand. I was basically trying to understand what reality is. And I've had a lot of speculations about it. So this very particular day, I smoked the Colorado, I go high, and I started hallucinating. But the thing was this: unlike most hallucinations where you don't know you're hallucinating, you just know that you're seeing things, and only after the hallucination you know you're hallucinating. I was conscious that I was having a hallucination. I knew that I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to see, but I could also take note of what I'm seeing. So I'm having the hallucination, but I know I'm hallucinating, but I can't stop the hallucination. So what my brain starts doing is, okay, if I can understand the difference between what hallucination is and what reality is, I can understand the framework of reality. And my brain was about to piece together what is the framework of reality. And on getting to it, when I started putting together, my heart rate started to spike. I started to feel like I'm going to run mad. I was getting erratic, because I'm about to achieve true revelation, but it's about to happen outside Christ. That's why Jesus said two things: whoever tries to come into the pen through the fence is a thief. Because I was trying to walk into heavenly revelation, but not through the way, which is Jesus Christ. I was trying to do it through drugs. I was going to run mad, and I felt madness coming. And I was like, what am I going to do? Because I had to make a choice. If I allow myself to walk into this revelation, even if I don't run mad fully, something is going to break in me. Or I can distract myself from this revelation and ignore it. The problem is this: I couldn't seem to distract myself. And this was when I got
very focused.
Yes, I was very focused. This was when I got another revelation.
You shut yourself off from reality.
It was me and understanding. Not like I was shut off from reality. I was into the frameworks of reality itself. And then what happened was this. I would say I don't want to call it the Holy Spirit, because Holy Spirit don't lead you into sin, but I'll call it myself. I understood something. How do you distract yourself from divine purpose? How do you distract yourself from anything that is heavenly, anything that is out of this world? How do you distract yourself from divine revelation? You have to please the flesh. And I knew that the only way, if not through God, that I was going to keep myself from running mad and not discovering this truth, was distracting myself through flesh. What did I do? I kid you not, I looked at my brother and told him, bro, if you do not want me to run mad, please give me that phone. I need to watch porn. That was what I did, because I needed to distract myself through flesh. Not something I'm proud of, but I kid you not, the moment I took this device and opened pornography and I started to please my flesh, I forgot entirely everything that was making me want to run mad. The whole seeds of divine revelation gone. I could recall seeds eventually, but that particular one that was about to lead me to madness, gone.
So, to me, that means drug distorts your reality.
Yes, drugs distort. Drugs can't give you truth. Drugs give you anyone that is speaking from a place of revelation, thinking that they've discovered some big truth. It's not.
It's not. You are just deceiving yourself.
You've been distorted. Even if you have some, that's why the Bible also says that the devil masquerades himself as an angel of light. Because you might have some pieces of truth, right? But because you didn't.
What's the actual truth?
What's the actual truth? You don't have it because you acquired it through by a distorted means.
Yeah.
Because if you even got
now.
Okay, yes.
So you are in Calabar and you are in Port Harcourt. So what is the truth? Where are you actually?
Where are you?
So if you are saying you are in Calabar, why are you in Calabar? If you are even saying Calabar is where you are, why are you saying Port Harcourt?
Why am I saying Port Harcourt? Exactly. I'm trying to.
When you now try to say, actually, why am I in Port? Why is in trouble?
Yes, like that. Why?
You just
and the thing is, with each why I'm getting
that's
answers.
How people get mad.
That is it. Why? You get an answer and you can't. You
know these days, and there are a lot of youths in the street. Mad.
It's madness. It starts by. The thing is, regardless of whatever happened, yes, I'm coming into revelation. I know that I'm coming into revelation, but neurologically, what is happening is I am what you call breaking myself. I'm breaking the guardrails God put in place in my mind to understand reality. It all depends on this thing you call depth. If you do not have the depth to handle whatever those drugs are inducing in you, that is basically, as they will say in the most literal street terms, if your head cannot carry, you go knock. If you never know what your head can carry, you don't know until you
you're not mad or you got away with it.
You don't know what your head can. See, I would always say that why my head could carry was because I'd spent. And funny enough, this was another thing I discovered. I discovered that people who read a lot could sustain more drugs. People of certain degrees of intelligence could handle more drugs. I eventually came to know because reading books and getting enlightened increases your depth to carry. So that's why you can handle drugs. That's why if you check a lot of people that just can't handle drugs at all, you see that they're not really, really bright. They're not really sound. People that are very sound, not just in book, not because you're a straight A student, but because you can look at reality, you can look at life. Yes, you can process. Those are the people that can handle drugs. And even at that, you're going to have a limit.
And sometimes because of the addiction, you don't have a limit.
You don't know your limit.
So
you're going to keep going until one day you reach your limit that you can't know. The only person that knows your limit is God. You can't know your limit. Only God knows your limit.
Okay, so like I was saying, we've talked about that. The reason why you want to indulge, so many reasons, mainly because you don't want to be face to face with your issues, and you just want to. And the issues will still be there.
And the issues were there. Sometimes they would meet me while I'm high.
Man, we just cannot deal with us.
When I will get heartbroken and smoke, the heartbreak will come back and meet me while I'm smoking.
God help us.
So it's not like the issues will run. The issues will just wait for you.
So Frank, finally, you didn't do what we call internet fraud.
No, I had my small time there. But of all my frivolities, it was the least I put effort in, but still, I engaged in some forms of fraud.
So what were you in it for money as young men?
The truth is, I entered fraud obviously for money, but it wasn't money for myself. As I've stated before, I was never really self-centered in the sense that I wanted to have money and be grandiose. I didn't want money so I can show people I had money. I craved money for two things. Well, for one thing, independence. I craved money for, in the most honest sense, I wanted to be free from the strains of my parents' household. I felt a lot of times I was feeling.
Why your mom could tell you what they wanted to tell you because she was not taking care of you. So.
It's only of recent I learned that that's not how you control. I didn't want control. So my mindset was this: not like I was going to neglect her, but when it comes down to it, knowing how the devil distorts truth, it might have ended in neglect. I intended to earn money, leave my parents' household, sending money for just keep them at a distance. I wanted to distance, just live my life, sort out my life, because by the grace of God, I wasn't ignorant. I knew what I felt was right and wrong. But then the book of Proverbs says there's a way that seems right unto a man and leads to destruction. But then again, I knew enough to know that I can be responsible. I'd lived on my own for some time by myself. In some places, I know there was a week I spent in one of my auntie's hotel alone, nobody, just me. I knew that I could keep. Yes, I knew I could keep a routine. Wake up in the morning, clean up my space. Come back, clean up my space. I kept a routine, so I knew that I could take care of myself if I had the money to take care of myself, and I knew that I could be responsible for myself, at least myself alone. I could do that, but I could finish myself with drugs. You don't see. If you
No,
come
how
into
do you-
God and you don't leave those habits that you're stopping, that especially those ones that money is funding, He's not giving you anything, because God will only give you what is good. I always think about this thing. When I was doing worldly music, doing secular music, not like secular music is bad per se, like secular in the sense that is in the world, not secular that is singing about. If it's promoting lust and all those, it is bad. But like a secular song that promotes good virtues, like this Timi Dakolo song, Iyawo Mi, that is a secular song that promotes good virtues. Point is this: when I was doing secular music, right, and I just wanted my music to go. The thing is, I knew that my music had the potential to be famous and to prosper. But because God loved me so much, it wasn't going anywhere.
Okay, so Frank, when did the total turnaround?
The total turnaround happened one very fateful day.
All right, and you
Aha.
will never forget that day.
No, people say that when you get saved, you don't forget, and the thing is a joke. June 23rd,
Good.
that was the date. I was smoking. Funny enough, I was
Okay.
smoking, and this time I wasn't, because I wasn't smoking to run away from my problems. I was smoking to address them. Not like I was smoking willingly, like to stay in smoking. I was just like, then I was still trying to get out of it. So it was a lot of tug of war. But it was during the tug of war between trying to stop smoking that I met Christ. I was using ChatGPT, because I use ChatGPT for a lot of soul work. I used it for personal therapy. Like, I'm not going to pay a therapist. I tried paying a therapist and it's expensive.
Okay.
And my mom wasn't really
Okay.
a fan of the idea of going for therapy to talk about and help fix my psyche. So I knew that if I don't do it myself, I'm just going to remain broken for life. I started working on my inner self using ChatGPT. I'll tell it to reply me like a professional therapist, and I'll start asking questions. It will ask me questions back. I'll answer honest and truthfully. And then one day, it got pressed into my spirit, because prior to this, I was always a soul who looked for truth. I wasn't someone who searched. When I say look for truth, it was this. No matter what happened, I wanted the truth. Even if
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And during my time in the world, I came to realization of something. By the way, this was God slowly trying to win me over. He was planting the seeds. I understood that man as a species, both emotionally, psychologically, neurologically, we need a religion. No matter what anyone tells you, that person that is standing so confident on social media to tell you that we don't need a religion, you don't need a God to tell you what to do right and wrong, bros, you don't know anything. And you might think you know, but I will quote it again, there's a path that seemeth right unto a man, but that path leads unto destruction. You don't know anything. All you think you know is what you think you know. But what you think you know is hurting other people and might even be hurting you in the process. You are there dying in ache and you say, man, anyway, point is this. I realized that mankind needs a religion.
Okay.
But my fear was this: what religion is the right one? Because all the religions I knew were teaching good values. Islamism teaches you good values. It teaches you to be selfless. It teaches you to give to the poor. It teaches you to respect God. Christianity teaches good values. It teaches you to love God. It teaches you to love others. It teaches you to love yourself. Buddhism teaches good values. It teaches you to meditate. It teaches you to sit in your ache and heal. A lot of religions teach good values: love others, love yourself. But the thing was this: I asked it, what religion was the best fit for mankind's emotional, psychological, and neurological situation? What religion is the best fit? Like, all religions are good, but which one is the best for our soul? That's what I asked it. And it replied with Christianity, and not just the Christianity, the one that Jesus preached, like the Christianity that Jesus. And I was like, this thing, you are joking. What do you mean by the like? You're not just saying Christianity, you're saying the one that Jesus. You're saying Jesus, not just Christianity. I'm like, let's go over this again. I asked it again. I'm like, what do you mean? And it was like, the Christianity, the one that is, because it was like, and he explained to me this, was like, every other religion teaches this concept. In no matter how voluminous the spiritual book is, it's all saying one thing. In every other religion, you have to do to meet God, like to attain either the spiritual enlightenment or attain a plane with God. You have to,
before you be accepted.
Yes, before you're accepted, you have to do things. You have to reach God. But Christianity was a religion that said, no, God has come to you
where you are. And
I was like, and then when it comes down to it, the truth is that every human being desires justice, but at the same time, every human being desires mercy. We desire justice in the sense that no matter what person you are, if someone wrongs you, you want justice. You want, even if someone doesn't wrong you, someone wrongs another, you want the right thing to happen. That's human nature. But at the same time, if you wrong someone and you are honestly remorseful, you want forgiveness. And in other religions, a lot of them do not major on the two. They major on either all just or all merciful. And the thing with this is, with taking one, is this: if you serve a God that is all merciful, a lot of things can go wrong, because no one is making sure that everything stays right. And if you serve a God that is all no caution, no correction. But if you serve a God that is all just and no mercy, everything might stay right, but you yourself, you're walking on pins and needles around him, because if you fail one thing, you are gone. So you're living in that fear. But Christianity is the only religion it combines both. God is all just and all merciful, and not just by words. If you read the Bible thoroughly, you see him being both just and merciful. So when I saw this, I realized that okay, Christianity is it, and I started walking in the path. There were a lot of things that happened, but it's a long thing. But that's how I started walking into the path. Slowly and surely, eventually, he helped me stop smoking. I've been sober for
So what did this help you to do? Did it help you critically look into what you were getting from the church?
What he helped me to do to stop smoking? What he helped me to do?
What this realization that
helped me?
Christianity is the way.
He helped me keep my life. So, like the moment I found out that Jesus' teachings were the way, I dived into the Bible. And reading the Bible exposed me to a lot of truths that helped me put my life in order. So discovering that Christianity was the way helped me put my life in order. That's it.
You began to not just attend church, but to get to the house and study your Bible.
I was not exactly. In fact, I was studying my Bible way more than I was in church. Although I wasn't missing services. Okay. What I mean by that is this: when I'm not in service, I'm in my house reading the Bible. Okay. And sometimes even in service, I'm sorry to say, but like I don't do that anymore. But in service, then if the sermon isn't hitting me, I open my Bible to start reading it instead. Because like if you're not preaching what is feeding my soul, I'm going to find what is feeding my soul, because my soul needs to be fed. I was hungry for the word. So that was what the realization brought to me. That was the truth. I needed to be fed. The realization that Jesus was the way. In fact, once I got into it, the first thing I did was to finish the book of John. Once I realized that Jesus was the way, I asked myself, okay, what gospel probably entails Jesus' life? I went into the book of John, finished it. When I was done with the book of John, I entered the book of Luke, the book of Mark, then started reading the apostles.
Okay, so after, I want to ask a question. Have you had a relapse? And have you managed?
Yeah, I relapsed. Not into drugs. I haven't relapsed into drugs. Thank God for that. Okay. But it was into pornography. I relapsed, and after the relapse, I was broken, sincerely broken. I was disappointed in myself, and then the Holy Spirit took me back to two instances. One, he took me back to David after David slept with Bathsheba. And reminded me that it wasn't about the sin, but it was about the brokenness of spirit and the willingness to come back. That is what kept David at the man after God's heart. And two, he took me to a verse in Psalms which says that the Lord is always close to the brokenhearted. Okay. So what he was trying to tell me was this: don't sin again. Like, I'm not encouraging you to sin, but as long as you're willing to walk and you are remorseful, I forgive you. And that ability to forgive myself, knowing that God has forgiven me, has helped me stay off. It helped me to stand. Because I'm not like scared that, oh, what if I fall? I'm like, even if I fall, he's going to forgive.
And that has helped you not to even fall.
It's helped me not to fall, because I'm not falling was usually as a result of me thinking too much. I'm like, oh, don't do this. And if I make one mistake, I spiral. But like now, it's more of, my life is in his hands. I don't need to stress about what I do.
So you just ensure you do. So what are those things that have been helping you practically?
To stay.
Yeah.
Bible. I stay in the Bible. Okay. Like, as I said earlier, someone told me that if you want to stop an addiction, you start another addiction. So instead of getting another addiction like alcohol, why get yourself addicted to the word? The word is addictive. I assure you. I assure you, read the word. I would read the word. I would pray. I would talk to God.
All right, Frank. It's been really wonderful talking with you. And what do you have to say? Fine, because the time is running out. I want you to look into the camera and talk to our audience.
Okay, so
as you are led to speak.
As I'm led. Okay. It didn't work, but okay. But to be serious, I'm not going to speak too much. I'm going to go straight to the point. To whoever is watching this, I'm going to speak to two sets of people, because those are the two sets of people I've been led to talk to. One, If you're watching this,
Hey, help us pray at the end.
yeah, I will pray. Okay. If you're watching this and you've been inspired, you've been touched, the Holy Spirit has convicted you to let you know that He's there. Do not allow the fear of shame. Do not allow shame take that away from you. Stay there. You are not imperfect. You have not fallen far from grace. You've not fallen because you didn't fall. You didn't go anywhere. He's always there. Remember, as I said, you're not supposed to reach Him. He's the one coming to you. All you have to do is say, I receive, and you will receive. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened. He's wanting to give. He just wants you to make the move, because love is a two-way relationship and God is love. So He wants you to say I want, and He will give. 1. 2, to the second set of people, if you're watching this and all that is creeping into your heart is probably disgust or disdain as to why I'm saying all this without shame, you're probably calling me shameless. I have only this to say to you. You still haven't understood what pride really is, right? And if you don't drop that mask, you're not going to attain salvation and peace, because we both know that you're not in peace yet. I'm sorry if I sound harsh, but like, it's part of my purpose. I'm not just called out to reach out to those that are seeking salvation. I've been called to speak to those who feel they are too big for salvation. And I'll tell you straight to your face that I won't be the only one that will say this message that has made you feel that way. People have, and people will. And on the final day, when the curtains in the heavens are drawn back and we stand before the judgment seat of Christ, you're going to give account as to why He kept speaking to you through people, and you kept pointing out the faults instead of looking back at yourself. But regardless upon still, I love you, and the prayer I'm going to make now is not just for you, but for the other persons, for the both of you. Father, Lord in heaven, I bring to you your children who have watched this, and whatever form of emotion that has been triggered in them, be it of you or of the devil, I pray that it all still works together for your will. As your Son prayed, let thy will be done in heaven, let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Father, work your will into the lives of all those who have listened and have been touched in whichever way. And for the soul who has been touched to come back to you, Father, I pray that from this day moving onward, that they continue to see your fingerprints in their life, and that your grace be made manifest in all they do. And I commit that soul unto you. And I pray for that soul, and I bless that soul. And I wish that soul prosperity. And I wish that soul peace. Peace that transcends all understanding. And from today onwards, this soul remains in you and for you and to you, and not of any instrumentation to the devil. Amen. If you joined hearts with me into this prayer, I assure you that from today onwards, if you were sincerely repentant of heart, you will see God's hand, unless you don't want to see it. But I assure you that even at times where you refuse to see it, your spirit will bear witness. The Lord bless you and keep you, and the Lord cause His favor to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, even now and forever. Amen.
Alright, you've all heard Frank's story, and if you're like Frank and you have such liberty to share your story, you can reach out to us through the email address and the number on the screen. Please, this is still New Lease. I'm Vivian Ibe, your host. Don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notification button. See you in the next episode.